Hi, I'm John Taylor, and I'm here for the impromptu speech for week number 2. My wife Belinda is going to be the one asking the 3 questions, and I will choose one, hopefully, and answer it pretty reasonably. So, Belinda, why don't you go ahead and answer me those 3 questions?
Okay. How do you feel about our political climate? That's one of them. The second one is, do you think we are living in the end times and why? Third one is, how did you begin your ministry in India?
All 3 of those questions are good ones, and I think the first one, which is what I think about the political climate, I'm going to stay away from because it's probably too long for me to really say on the video. And also the end times, I would rather do a more in-depth conversation about that in more than 3 minutes. So I think I'm going to answer the one about India. Over the last several years, I have actually, the last 10 years, I have been ministering in Guatemala and Peru and in the jungles going down the Amazon River to very remote places to minister and witness the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's something that I really like to do because my background prior to going into ministry full-time was in the military, and I was always out in the field, so I like that kind of outdoors kind of activity. So many people contact me on Facebook who see whatever I post on Facebook. It's seen all around the world. And so they ask me to come, but most of the time I do not go to a lot of places that ask me because it's just very difficult to travel that extensive when you have a family. So one day I was contacted by a pastor from India, and we got into a conversation, and the Lord put a burden on my heart from India. So I did FaceTime him, and I started to speak to him about ministry in India and the difficulties of ministry in India. And we began to pray with one another, and within about 2 or 3 months, I had decided to accept his invitation to go to India. And when I went to India, my main focus was to actually support an orphanage or start an orphanage, which we did ultimately start a new orphanage. Right now, John Taylor Ministries International has 4 orphanages, and we also have 15 churches and 52 pastors that we oversee. Getting to India was quite an experience because my visa didn't come through, and I'm staying at the airport trying to get my visa, and after 3 top tries and 3 different separate tickets, it almost cost me $5,000 to actually go. But I did eventually get to go. And right before I left, I got a phone call from a church, a local church in Florida, and they asked me, have you paid for your trip to India yet? And I said, no, I have not. And they told me, well, somebody wrote out a check for $5,000, which covered the extra cost and expenses of the tickets and the visas. So to God be the glory, because I did not know how I was going to survive in India. I was really going by faith. And so that is how I got to India, and I've never looked back. We are still having financial difficulties because it's not a cheap trip, and it's a hard trip because it's 24-hour flight. But we did go, and I got to see Dubai, which is one of the places that I landed prior to getting to India. So I hope you enjoy this. It was very easy actually to go to India personally. It was just more of a more difficulty getting into India with the visas and the passports and things like that. But now that I know how to do it, I'm very happy to be there. God bless you, and I hope you enjoyed the video.